Oh my.
Finally, it is here. This is the all-new Honda Civic Type R. It comes to market in the beginning of 2023. Today we have the chance to have a look on the car. We will compare it with the regular Honda Civic in a hybrid spec here for the European market. And of course we start our test drive on public roads and on the racetrack. I hope you join me. Welcome here at Asia Auto Ambassador. I'm Bernd from Germany and this is the Honda Civic Type R. This is at the heart of the Civic Type R. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. The maximum power output has been increased up to 329 horsepower for the European spec version. The Japanese version's got 330 horsepower. While that, we've got a particle filter here, and that means a slight power reduction. The turbocharger has been modified. There's a new exhaust system and the result is the increased power, and there's more torque of 420 Newton meters up from 2,200 revs per minute. The Type R is the only non-electrified car in Honda's European lineup. The regular Civic, the Civic EHEV we have here, is powered by an electric motor, and the internal combustion engine is more or less the power generator for the electric motor. At some speeds it also works as or it directly drives the front wheels. The front wheels are also the wheels driven by the Type R, so the recipe stays the same. But of course it's again the more aggressive, more sportive looking Civic, and we can now compare the two of them. We do have LED headlights with a high beam assist, but no adaptive or matrix LED functions. The front bumper's got larger air intakes here for the brake cooling, and that also means that there are no fog lights in the front bumper of the Type R. You still have them at the regular Civic. And we have air outlets here, outtakes on the front of the car as well. This is also for better aerodynamics for higher speeds. The new Civic Type R has got 19-inch rims. This is slightly smaller than the ones of the predecessor. It had got 20-inch rims. However, this is part of the full weight and aerodynamics package of the new car. We've got air intakes here for the brake cooling and air outtakes behind the front wheels. This is part of the aero system, so the air will be goes in here, goes out there, and then we see flaps here. So this is all part, as said, of the aerodynamics, so the car will slip through the air, through the headwind. The Civic Type R measures 4 meters and 59 in length. It's slightly longer than the regular Civic because of the front and rear bumpers, and it's got a height of only 1 meter and 40 centimeters, so it's really a quite narrow car. And of course you see the large rear spoiler. This is part of the Type R design DNA, but again it's also an important part in the aero pack of the car. When you drive with 200 kilometers per hour, this rear spoiler brings up to 58 kilograms of downforce at that speed. The predecessor could be ordered also without the rear spoiler, and here we've got the car with a black spoiler. It comes as standard, and there will be an optional carbon package. That means carbon parts inside and a lightweight carbon rear spoiler as well. At the rear you see a different bumper and of course the exhaust system with 3 pipes. This is typical for the Civic Type R, and also the exhaust system had been modified to increase the power output. And we see at the front and at the rear a red Honda logo. This is also reserved for the Type R models, and that reminds to Honda's first Formula One success in the year 1965. There is of course a boot, a trunk that measures 410 liters, and yeah, you see a typical compact car trunk. The bench or the backrest of the rear seats can be folded down to increase the capacity, and then we can also remove the floor, but there's no additional storage compartment underneath. But here you've got the first aid kit and so on. Let's check the seating comfort in the car. My height is 1 meter 92 centimeters. This is 6 feet 3 inches. And I have a lot of space here in the second row of the Honda Civic. The new generation Civic is a quite spacious car. And behind the sport seat of the Type R, by the way, I adjusted the driver's seat into my individual seating position. I even have a little bit more knee room compared to the regular Civic. There's no armrest, there are no storage compartments, no air vents, no USB power outlets, unfortunately, but at least we have 2 cup holders, and there's some storage for another bottle in the door panel. And here in the door panel you see some microfiber material with wet stitching, and this black microfiber material also covers the rear bench, apart from the red carpets and the red seat belts. So definitely red is the more dominant color in the interior of the Type R, especially in the first row. The front seats are manually adjustable. They are sport seats and they are still quite comfortable. I like sitting here. However, the headrest could be a little bit higher for people of my size. They carry a red upholstery contrary to the rear bench, and also we see red carpets here. There's a very short gear shifter. The Civic Type R again comes with a manual 6-speed transmission. This one has been modified as well. There's a modified rev match function, and here you see the serial number of the car. So our test car is Civic Type R number 1133 of all Type Rs built so far. The cockpit itself, of course, is taken over by the regular Civic. That means we've got a lot of physical buttons for the air condition, for example, so it's quite intuitive to adjust temperature and so on. The seat heating, by the way, is missing in the Type R. We've got USB power outlets. Here we can charge the smartphone wirelessly, and the touchscreen is also known. We have the physical buttons for the audio volume and so on. This is quite easy. And new to the Type R is the Log R menu, and here you've got your a lot of detailed information about pressure, temperatures and so on. And also you can race against yourself when you have a track day event, for example. You can record and the car also kind of briefs you how to do it better, braking points and so on. So this is your personal instructor here in the car, and also you can then send all this information to a smartphone app. The instrument cluster is also fully digital, and there are different layouts available, and also you can customize the information on trip computer, on driving assistance. So we've got lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control and so on. So that can all be done here. And when you change your driving modes, there are different color schemes, and there's a plus R mode, and then the display changes into a more Formula 1 display with a large rev meter, and also you get information about the best time for the gear shift, and then you have all the needed information on the turbocharger and the oil temperature and so on here too. The engine is already running. I put in the first gear and we start our test drive.
You jump the fire, we'll just sit and wait till you see me fly. The way I put my finger on it.
We are on public roads in Portugal, curvy road. That means we can test the dynamic behavior of the Type R, and it's a lot of fun. 329 horsepower is the power output of the engine, I said that, but more important, it's a torque of 420 Newton meters, and I really like the feeling at the gear shift, quite short ways between the gears, and you hear feedback from the exhaust system depending on the drive mode. Here's the drive mode button in the center console, and when you change, for example, to comfort mode, also the adaptive dampers changed their behavior, and so the car it's still a bit stiff, but it's a nice, agile, compact car now for daily use. The sports mode makes it a little bit stiffer, and then also you have the Plus R cold mode, and that means that everything is a bit stiffer, louder, and more dynamic. I used two vocabularies: public roads and sports or dynamic driving. Of course, public roads are not the best for that, so now we will go on a racetrack. On our way to the racetrack, we have some time to look back. I don't mean looking back on 25 years of history of the Civic Type R range, but indeed the look back through the back window, the rear window. You might see the rear spoiler now from the rear seat compartment. If you are in the driver's seat position, you don't see it because the spoiler is as high as the rear window and does not distract your view. Here we go on the racetrack. Tommy, you are a more experienced driver than I am. You did GT3 Masters?
Yes.
Touring cars?
Touring cars and karting.
And karting.
Yeah.
And today you are my, teacher, instructor. We are in Plus R mode, of course. Now leaving the pit lane. Third shift.
Yes, third gear is fine. And as I mentioned, we have the two cones for braking point.
Yeah.
The other cone
Brake
for
here.
steering in, and one apex cone.
So the car behaves really well. Hardly any understeering. And also the gear shifter is quite nice. Very short ways between the different gears. And I learned from you, we did a lap earlier, that you use the curbs as well, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
In the dry is no problem.
The car's really fast and noisy, of course, but it's not too noisy, the exhaust system. We do have adaptive dampers, and they are now in the stiffest setup. That means when you brake, the car is still very stable, also at the rear axle. Now I took a bit too fast. Or maybe not, you're still laughing. I stay in the third gear?
Second gear will be
Second?
better. Yeah.
Okay. Third gear, okay. So we have the maximum torque of 420 Newton meters from 2,200 revs per minute. Stay in the third?
Going for.
4.
Yeah.
Fourth gear, 110 kilometers per hour, 122. Went down from, was it 200?
It was 200, yes.
Down to 70 something. Yeah, it's stable, not nervous. What impact would the tires have to all that? We have now the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, I guess?
Yes. first of all, this is a really good tire, and since the tire got wider compared to the old Civic, from 230 to 260 or 65.
Yeah, 65. Yeah.
65. Plus the evolution of the damper, of the stiffness of the car. This in total as a package makes the car just more powerful, quicker on the track, and also just feels more comfortable for going fast.
Yeah, it's really comfortable. Also here, even if you use the curbs, it's not too bumpy. Nice gear.
And the traction, I'm always surprised about how much traction this car has.
I once drove a Subaru Impreza WRX STI on a racetrack, and that was more nervous despite the all-wheel drive system. Normally you think, well, an all-wheel drive car like the Volkswagen Golf R, it's easy to handle. And front-wheel drive, it's got a not such a good image for driving like this, in my opinion, but it's really easy to handle here, the Civic Type R. Wow, this was a ride. Thank you very much, Tommy. I tried to get rid of the helmet and my sunglasses. So, back to life.
See you next
Thanks
time.
a lot. See you next time.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
The car looks nice in my opinion. It proves that it behaves very well on the road, and it proved that it's easy to handle on the racetrack despite being incredibly fast. So it's a well done sports car, not just another hatchback with some more spoilers and a little bit of more power. It's really a well done sports car, and that comes with a price, unfortunately. In Germany, the new Civic Type R will start at 55,500 euros. This is quite a lot, more or less 13,000 euros more than the predecessor. Volkswagen Golf R with all-wheel drive and 320 horsepower costs a bit less, around about 53,000 euros. However, it's not really comparable because the all-wheel driven Golf R is much slower on a track like this, and it's not that agile. Then there's the Cupra Leon with 300 horsepower and front-wheel drive that costs about 48,000 euros. So in a nutshell, the Civic Type R is a well-done car, but it's not cheap, and the price increase is really the downside of the car. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment. I will read them all and will reply to most of them. Thanks to Andreas, the guy behind the camera, and see you next time on this channel. Bye bye.